I've got what you're looking for, everyone. This is Acid Roots. We're going to talk about Britney Spears. So, you may be wondering what exactly she's doing on this channel, considering, Tech Nine, Britney Spears, these guys don't really seem to fit on the same page, but that's the point of it. It's kind of, you'd be surprised because Britney Spears has dropped quite a few albums, and before she really, there was just like a certain point where people were getting ready to go into the sound that they became, pretty popular for. And, the Britney from 1999, 2001 was just a teenager type pop singer. And so as she grew older, we got this kind of like, well, Britney, are you going to bars and clubs and dance clubs, And obviously she was. So, we're left with this is a kind of dark album. Blackout reminds me of something. It's not necessarily those radio songs you heard 10 years ago or anything before. That's kind of why I picked it. It's just because it's really in between some of the balance of what like some of the positive and upbeat club songs that you hear today. It still is pretty sensual, but it's not necessarily it doesn't sound like it's brightened in the way. So this is a reason why I like 2007, is just because a lot of people got enveloped with Europop and EDM music, and it just made things just about one or two or three nights of just not remembering what happened. So obviously the reason why I feel like Britney Spears could perform at the Gathering and places similar is because she has songs in her career that are popular but are also forgotten, and she wasn't always catering to that same audience. So obviously if you were 20 in 2001, you were 26 in 2007, 2008. So your mind changes. I just feel like it's important because you can get some new sounds. So this is, a lot of it's really, like I said, it's affectionate, but at the same time, it just feels as if this is something that needs to happen. So I'm trying to explain this without going over like 12 minutes, but yeah, they're just dark club songs, and I feel like even though they're a little bit emotional, if you just listen to the instrumentals and the occasional, or you can listen to the lyrics too, but it's just, she has a personality that's going to get you turned on. I feel like that's one thing that she does do, is she's a woman, she's voluptuous, it's going to work, and so that's kind of necessary. So as she gets you to like her, you might forget about some of the other things about the singing is good. That's one thing I will say, and just there's some stuff on this album. So I know Britney Spears is like way way different from some, like Sierra. You say okay because she makes dance songs, she hooks up with rappers. But you just have to give it a shot. You got to take my word for it. And even though it's like really milk toast type stuff, at the same time, it's just one of those things where how could you gotta want Britney Spears. So, um, can you smoke to this? The answer is surprisingly, I think you can. There's a couple songs like Gimme More, Break the Ice, Get Naked, and Hot as Ice that are some real good smoke songs. Like, really about the first half of the album is pretty non-stop. That's where most of the energy of the CD is the first 6 songs minus one. So, and I mean, they're all clubbish type songs. When you hear them, you're gonna think, wait a minute, this isn't, um, this is not the club of today, but it's also not outdated either, and that's kind of why I chose it. It's a really slick look for Britney Spears, and it's effective. The production, that this is where it comes in. That whole first half of the album has good production, and then in the second half there's a couple other ones like Hot as Ice and Perfect Lover. So the unheard songs, these are the ones I recommend you check out the most. Some of these you may have heard on the radio, but just if you just pay attention to more of the feeling more than the actual picture that's trying to be painted, you'll probably have more fun. So, Gimme More, Piece of Me, Radar, Break the Ice, Get Naked, Hot as Ice, and Perfect Lover. All of these happen to be effective songs, and I will say that, like Break the Ice and Radar, and even, some of these are really, like I said, they're pretty milk toast almost, but it's not at the point of where you wouldn't want to hear it. You just have to kind of say, okay, well, let me I don't know, it feels as if it's like a woman that you want to show things, and then that's just the whole thing. That's just the way I've looked at it. Is like, oh, you haven't seen the half of it exactly. So you can and I mean, most people should be comfortable listening to this type of music anyways. It shouldn't be about the coolness factor. And, Britney Spears is a slick person anyways. So, just trust me, it's effective. We need juggalo, we need juggalette performers. So, I do recommend this CD, and I am going to give it, because I like 7 out of 12, that is really about like a 7.5 out of 10. Now, I would give it an 8. I wanted to give it an 8, but there were 5 songs I didn't like. One that was kind of an almost song, but, I just couldn't quite admit that it was top notch. Was, I think, Heaven on Earth. That one was just a little bit too, cutesy. But, other than that, you get plenty. So, yeah, so I give this album a 7.5 out of 10. I would give it an 8, but, just need one more song. The future, Britney has dropped an album, but I just do not feel as if there's clones of this album. She did drop an album the year after in 2008, but I haven't listened to it. So I can't recommend that one to you. Maybe I'll review it and I'll try it out. Is this album social? I will give that about an 8 out of 10. Maybe like a 7 out of 10, just because there's songs that you may have heard for one thing. Britney Spears is an icon for another, and she's female for a third thing. So those are all 3 things that boost up this score. But just the thing about it on the con side is just some people are not going to be able to take the total, tame. It's pretty soft. So that's about the only thing. But so I'll give it a 7 social. But you just have to be able to listen to it. Obviously, you can up the score if you are more feeling it. So, but alright, can it be topped? I think it can, but this is still effective. So I give this album a 7.5 out of 10 and a 7 social.